Justin Fields has officially been announced as the starter in Chicago. Congrats to Justin Fields. He had been the starter because Andy Dalton was injured, and Matt Nagy, as of yesterday, I think, or maybe 2 days ago, said that if Andy Dalton is healthy, he is our starter, which is a message he has maintained for the last few weeks, even though it seems as if with Laser calling the plays this last weekend and Justin Fields executing them, the team looked better than they've ever looked. Andy Dalton now goes into the veteran backup role. Probably a good move for the entire franchise as a future if you're going to stick with Justin Fields, don't you think, AJ?
Yeah, it seems like that, and I'm sure Andy understands the situation he is in. But, man, ever since Nagy did that post-game presser, like I feel like his players, people just have to look. I don't know. It was our first glimpse of him acting like that or just turning it back to him. And just it was a weird thing. So I just wonder how the players and coaches are responding to that, too.
Okay, and I want to ask you how you think the team and the coaches are responding to Nagy potentially after the game this past weekend, giving himself a nod for Laser's success with Justin Fields. However, you're going to do what you got to do. But now that it's been announced as Justin Fields is the starter, what do you think took so long? Why do you think the holdup was? And what ultimately do you think pushed him over the hump to make that decision? Do you think it was pressure from other people, or do you think Nagy just got to that point naturally?
Yeah, going back to the presser, Pat, I mean, all you had to do is get up there and say, hey, look, Bill did a great job. Fields did a great job. Defense was outstanding. Turnovers, end of discussion. Tino always taught me, less is more. Shut up. You talk too damn much, Chuck. So less is more. Just leave it at that. And then, I think the court of public opinion, I think the fans, I'm sure there's people in that organization are saying, hey, this kid's our future. Why are we going to delay this any longer? We know what Andy is. He's great in that role. He can become, the next clipboard Jesus, if you will, and be the backup and, let this kid, get these snaps under his belt instead of waiting, going back and forth. So I don't, one way or another, I know the locker room and everybody in that city and that organization is probably fired up that Fields is going to be out there still.
Chuck, when you're a head coach of a team, like how aware of you, like of your team and the guys that are playing for you, like, are you aware of, okay, how is this going to come across? Whatever I say to the media after the game, during the week, the messaging I'm trying to get across, are you paying close attention throughout the season of like where they're at? And hey, are these guys, I'm losing some of them or I'm not, or hey, I feel like I have them. Like, are you always something you have to adjust with that?
You have to. You'd be totally ignorant not to be in tune to all that stuff, and you got to watch, what you're saying, when you're saying, how you're saying it, because those guys are all watching that. As much as you think that they're not, and you say, hey, earmuffs and blinders, all that stuff, they're watching the leader. The head coach is the guy that's out in front of this organization. He's the guy that everybody's leaning on for direction, and whether you're winning, whether you're losing. Good times, bad times, you're the guy that's out front. So you better be in tune to the locker room. You better have a great feel for what's going on in that locker room. So having some great vets, some great leaders like we had in Indy, I had a ton of players, a group of guys like Pat that they could come down to my office. He knew this. It was an open door policy to say, hey, we got this, and this going on, and whatever. I mean, we need to, maybe back off of some. I mean, some guys came to me and said, hey, your talk to the team, we got blistered out in Arizona, and a couple of guys came and said, your talk to the team was terrible. I go, I appreciate that. I wish you would have stopped me during it. We might have made this game competitive, So, no, you got to be in tune to that, AJ.